Phil Heimlich. I'm a conservative Republican, though I lean libertarian. I'm a follower of Christ also. I call this podcast The Radical Middle. You might remember a couple weeks ago, I did a podcast on my visit to the Holocaust Center in Cincinnati, Ohio. And what really struck me there was their use of the terms bystanders versus upstanders. Bystanders were the people who kind of just went along with the Nazis. They didn't speak up, they didn't do anything to help Jews. But upstanders were the people who had the courage to hide Jews at the risk of their own lives. Now, it's easy to look back at those times and say, I wouldn't have done that kind of, or I would have done that. But what about the people in our world today who we would call upstanders? Well, here's a couple examples. One is Alexei Navalny, who was a Russian lawyer who for years exposed the corruption in the Kremlin. He also tried to run for president against Putin, though, of course, Putin was able to keep him off the ballot. In 2020, Putin's thugs poisoned Navalny and almost killed him. But after he recovered, he could have stayed in Germany and led a very peaceful life, but instead he chose to return to Russia to protest. He was immediately sent to the Gulag, where he died shortly after. There's another upstanding, or at least upstanders, I want to talk about. And that's a group in Israel called Standing Together, which is a collection of Israelis and Palestinians. It's the largest grassroots movement in Israel of that type, and they are fighting for peace. They believe in social justice for Palestinians and for Jews, and they are fighting to get peace in Gaza, to get a ceasefire. Now, finally, there's a guy I got to know pretty well named Adam Kinzinger. Adam was a conservative Republican congressman from Illinois. He served about 10 years, and he was pretty much right down the line conservative Republican. But after the January 6th attack on the Capitol, he spoke out against Donald Trump for inciting that attack, and he then served on the January 6th committee, which exposed not only that Trump had incited the riot and put his own Vice President Mike Pence in danger, but that Trump had also put pressure on the Justice Department and state officials to change votes. He lost his seat in Congress. He wasn't able to run again because he knew he was going to lose. But Kinzinger, just like Navalny and just like the group Standing Together, are powerful examples of upstanders in our world today. I'm Phil Heimlich, and this is The Radical.